Well, hey everybody, happy Wednesday. Chris here from Finland Mennonite Church, back with another session of Midweek Musings. This time where we just remind ourselves of one truth from the previous week's sermon and the scriptures that we were in. And this past week, we were in the book of James, right? And the truth that I brought out was that we have allegiances, right? But our ultimate allegiance is to be in God alone. Which begs the question, to what is your ultimate allegiance? In whom is your ultimate allegiance? I got my Philly shirt on because maybe like me, when you think of allegiance, you think of sports. Maybe you yourself are just completely sold out for a team. Maybe you know somebody who's completely sold out for a team. Maybe it's a team you play on. Maybe it's just a team you root for, right? But sports, for whatever reason, seem to really demonstrate what allegiances look like and to what level allegiances will cause us to act in certain ways that maybe we wouldn't if our allegiance wasn't quite there. Because if you also remember, our allegiances will dictate our actions. Right? So I got my Philly shirt on. These are most of the teams that I normally root for. But really, as I was thinking about this week, as I was musing about my allegiances, it had me remember a movie. This movie was called Fever Pitch, and it's about this guy who is just gung-ho, sold out as a fan of the Boston Red Sox. And it's a movie about what happens when he begins to fall in love with somebody. And those allegiances begin to come into conflict with one another. See, because that's really what happens, right? Our allegiances will have conflicts. And so take me, for example. I'm married. I have a wife, Ginger, and so obviously my allegiances are to her. I have kids, and my allegiances are to them. I'm a son, and so I have allegiances to my mom and dad. I'm a brother, so I have allegiances to my sister and my brother. I live on Cedar Hollow Road, so I have allegiances to my neighbors to some level. I root for certain sports teams that I have allegiances to, right? So we all have multiple allegiances. And if we're really being honest, we're very allegiant to ourselves and what makes us comfortable, what makes things convenient for us, often we fall into, right? But so how do we determine of all these things which we give our ultimate allegiance to? And so take a look at this clip, and maybe it'll shed some light into this question for you.
See my point? It's not the time, it's she doesn't respect how I'm spending my time. You know, now she expects me to miss a Yankees game?
Let's go, Murph, you're up.
All right, Mr. Reitman, I got a bat. Let me just leave you with this thought. You love the Sox, but have they ever loved you back?
Who are you, Dr. Phil? Get at it. Go hit. Go swing the bat.
All right. So, nothing like getting your advice from the Pee-wee baseball player that you're sharing life with, right? But I love the point that he makes. Has it ever loved you back? Have the Sox ever loved you back, right? The Red Sox. Indicating that this new girlfriend obviously has, right? And so here's the question I have for you as we start thinking who belongs or who should our ultimate allegiance be to. We can ask this question, well, who's loved you back? And so you think of my examples again, and all right, so my parents have loved me, my kids have loved me, my wife has loved me, so how does that help determine it? Well, of all the things that my allegiance could come to, who has loved me back the most or the greatest? And this really brings to this ultimate point. Well, let's consider our Creator. Let's consider the one who breathed life into us. Let's consider the one who created everything around us. If the Bible is true, and I believe that it is, then it says that this Creator who created us, who I've rebelled against, loved me so much, loved you so much, loved all of us so much that he would come himself in the flesh. We call him Jesus, right? Jesus Christ. Come in the flesh to die on a cross so that those of us, all of us, who have rebelled, every single person who have made ourselves enemies of his would become co-heirs with him. Right? Now that's a love that's unlike any other. Right? And so based on that alone, no one has loved us to that extent. We come close. But not to that extent. To love all of humanity, every single person that's ever lived, so much that you would go to a cross so that they who were your enemies could be transformed into co-heirs with you in your kingdom. This is the extravagant love that the Bible says God has for each and every one of us. It's why he and he alone belongs in the top spot of our ultimate allegiance. Right? And so I hope as we finish out this week, as you consider these things, as you look at your allegiances, that you too would come to realize, absolutely, this God, my creator, deserves my ultimate allegiance, to join him in living so that people who might currently still be enemies of God would become co-heirs with him. Let's give our full allegiance to this God. Let's give our full allegiance to the one who made himself known in the flesh as Jesus Christ. And let's live a life of giving everything we have for his kingdom, his purposes, his glory, and the good of those around us. Enjoy the rest of your week.